the new Pope would be facing as he started his new pontificate. But also remind us about our role as intellectual Catholic in this changing and extremely challenging world. I would want also to say here that as a UN official, I wanted to make a disclaimer and that I'm not speaking on behalf of the United Nations here. I'm speaking on my own capacity as a Catholic, intellectual Catholic, and then I would really want you to bear with me on that. Today, I invite you to reflect on a powerful and timely calling, which is our mission as lay Catholic intellectuals and professionals in shaping a synodal church and in a more peaceful world rooted not in ideology, but in the infinite love of God. Today, as I say, I speak not just with conviction, but with deep gratitude for the mission God entrusts us to each of us as lay Catholic intellectuals and professionals. And as my predecessor panelist have already highlighted, the Pope Leo XIV starts his pontificate in a very challenging global context. And in these uncertain times when the world cries for peace, dignity, and unity, we are called to be bridges and not walls. And to get a little bit deeper in that, I would just wanted to recall one of the very many pronouncements of Pope Francis on various issues, but particularly on synodality, which I love very much because I have, during the entire pontificate of Pope Francis, I have followed him very carefully on his approach to synodality, and then also from a very philosophical perspective, how he sees the church and then the role that we as intellectual Catholic, just as a church, as an individual, we can transform the world and then make this world a little bit a better place today than tomorrow. He says, and it is very simple, synodality is the path that God expects of the church in the third millennium. And that path cannot be walked by the clergy alone. We, the laity, are also called to work together, to contribute, and then to lead. And the Pope Francis also reminded us that the synodality is the path that God expects of the church in the third millennium. It is not a program. It is a way of being, of working together. And in this pilgrimage, the laity are not spectators, we are protagonists. The point that I wanted to make in recalling those two pronouncements from Pope Francis is the daunting challenge that Pope Leo will be confronted in his pontificate. A church that needs to be reconciled with its primary obligations, or it's not, this is a legal concept, but it's a primary objective, I would say, that to build a world where love, solidarity, and empathy should rule determination that guide economic, political, and social choices at a various level in our different countries. In that perspective, I feel that we are called and we are capable. We are commissioned, I would say, to lead that battle alongside with the new Pope. The second thing that I wanted to highlight is our baptism. Many of us really, when we grow intellectually, when we grow professionally, we tend to lose sight of the roots of our faith. Our baptism is our first ordination to mission. And as the Vatican II declared in Lumen Gentium, we, the laity, are called to seek the kingdom of God by engaging in temporal affairs and in ordering them according to God's plan. We are meant to act in the world, not apart from it, but deeply within it. And as Catholic doctors, lawyers, teachers, researchers, writers, civil servants, entrepreneurs, we bring the gospel to classroom, to boardroom, to courtroom, to community halls. And then our intellect is not detached from faith, it is illuminated by it. More than ever, in this new pontificate, our church and our world cried for bridges, not walls, as I say. And the lay Catholic professional are these bridges. We are the bridges between sciences and faith, and then I like very much a very deep reflection, philosophical, and then also a human reflection that Stefano has provided at the beginning of this conversation. We are the bridges between science and the faith, between justice and mercy, and between dialogue and conviction. In this fractured society, global society, a weary world, we are called to be what Christ declared in the Beatitude. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God. And in our Catholic social teaching also affirm that peace is not merely the absence of war, it is the work of justice. We are in a context, a global context, and from the African perspective, where global inequality, be it societal, intellectuals, scientific, but also political and then economic, is shaping our world. The inequality in the global exchange is affecting definitely the African continent and the African countries more than many others. And I wanted to confide, I wanted to give to the Pope. I'm not really advising him. I have no capacity to do so. But I wanted him to remember that in Africa, we are confronted with the global unequal financial architecture that is fundamentally challenging the human development of the continent. How does his pontificate help to challenge this normative framework that creates more poverty, more inequality, more exclusion, more social deficiency than the humanity that our faith calls for us? That certainly, from my perspective, from the African perspective, what we would really wanted to see him very robustly engaged in. The other thing that I wanted to say very, very quickly, don't want to take more of this time. When we serve, we speak the truth to power. When we accompany the broken, when we uphold human dignity and human rights, we are not just doing good, we are revealing the Christ. And this revelation of the Christ through philosophical, societal, interpretative reading of signs of time from the African perspective, from our own perspective, should be what we want the Pope to pay attention to. We want it to be the revelator of the Christ. We want it to be the challenger of the normative framework that very fundamentally remain the obstacle for a growth in our faith, but also a growth in a transformative mindset for development on the African continent. We must build formation space for late Catholic and the church, and as a leader of the church, Pope Leo XIV should listen to us. For lay Catholics to think, who pray, professionals who discern, leaders who listen. And a truly synodal church depends on our presence, our gift, our witness. I would certainly end my reflection by saying that the church needs today not just theologians in robes, but engineers, doctors, lawyers, peace builders, writers, artists, diplomats, whose faith lead their practice. And in a growing global context where decency seems to be the commonly unshared commodity, where the radicalism and the conservatism challenge the progress that we have made so far, where the multilateralism that help us to advance peace and security in many forms, including through the faiths that we Catholic intellectuals we use to shape our engagement. I believe that Pope Leo XIV has inherited a very, very daunting task from Pope Francis, and the legacy of Pope Francis, without being a custody of the Pope Leo XIV, remain, in my view, and in many African views, the compass of the new Pope. We are called to transform the world through daily witness, not for applause, but because we are disciples. Lumen Gentium reminds us that the laity are called to seek the kingdom of God, as I indicated, by engaging in temporal affairs and in ordering them according to God's plan. And in that regard, I believe that in this new era where we have to have the guts and the boldness to challenge the normative framework, to go beyond our faith, to embrace the philosophical richness of our identity, of our society, of our culture, of our tradition, to shape human development along Catholic social teaching. I believe that we need to build bridges. We are bridges, but we need to strengthen those bridges. We need to bridge between faith and reason, between policy and compassion, between action and prayer, between justice and peace. Let us, in this context where nothing seems to be rational anymore, where the fundamental rationale that we have to guide the world, the humanity of the world, remain the moral dimension of our thinking. Let us, without fear, and lead without pride. Like Christ, who broke bread with sinners and then held the forgotten, we too are called to serve, not in theory, but in the chaos of the reality that our world is currently confronted. I end with this invitation. And it's not anything new, by the way. I think that the proposal that Anselmo has put forward are also in many ways reflective of this call. Let us be and remain the salt and the light in boardrooms and board zones, on factory floors, in diplomatic corners. Let us remain rooted in God's love and work together as one church, one people, and one hope. And in a true synodal church, depends on our presence, our gift, our witness. We need definitely not just to be a very sound and challenging advisor to Pope Leo XIV, but we also need to be the foundation of his prayers. He needs us. He needs our prayers. In this chaotic world that the guilty human beings have decently built for ourselves, we need definitely a transformative mindset and intellectual capacity to transform philosophy into something that can speak volume about a concrete reality in our different contexts, and especially in Africa. I thank you, and then I look forward to be part of this journey of Catholic intellectuals, simple, ordinary Catholic who definitely aspire to support the Pope in his daunting task, as I indicated from the beginning, but which can never be achieved if the Catholic Church does not contribute meaningful to the change and then the shift of the paradigm that shape the society, the unequal society, full of injustice that we are living in right now. I thank you.